Is England the biggest country, #1 record-wise for you, or was America strong, or was Australia slightly larger, or which country?
Well, I suppose England has more than anywhere else, but England, yeah, but America was strong. They had the majority of the, you know, the things like the bus stops and carry-ons and on the carousels in the early days, and of course the Air That I Breathe and The Ain't Heavy. They're all hits in America. Also, in fact, Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress, which was a hit pretty much everywhere in the world except for England. There is a reason for that. It was at the period where Alan Clark left the band, and we were in this situation where we brought in this Swedish fella called Michael Rickfors, and we had a record out with him called The Baby, and we, you know, I mean, we killed Long Cool Woman in England purposely. We wouldn't promote it or anything, which, on looking back, it was a stupid thing to do, really. I mean, they all know it's our song, and I suppose, whereas, I mean, it probably sold as many as it would have done as a hit record, except it happened over a longer period of time, you know.
Chart for you.
Yeah.
It must be a really fantastic thing to look back and say, well, there, He Ain't Heavy. Oh, I remember we were in Canada at the time, which people at home would no doubt do when they hear those records being played again on radio. Do you have any one visual thing in the brain that comes back off one song?
Well, you mentioned He Ain't Heavy. I mean, I don't know if this is what you're meaning. The funny part of that song is it's an accident that we ever recorded it. The reason being, I still do go around publishing houses if we need songs, looking around for songs and things. And I went to this publishing house in London, a fella called Cyril Shane, bless his heart, and he was a fella who used to go off to Italy and various places and come back with all these typical songs which were from song festival type songs. So he'd play you these songs which were really corny, sort of typical, got to get it over in one place songs, and he'd stand behind you with his arm round you virtually, and he'd be singing the English lyric in your ears, you're hearing those songs, and they were terrible. So I'd say, right, okay, Cyril, I'll, you know, I'm just going out the door. He says, all right, he says, desperation move, he says, I've got one song here for the, you know, which, have a listen to it. He says, it's probably not for you. And he played He Ain't Heavy's My Brother. And, it probably just stood out so much because at least it was a song. If he played it amongst a load of others, it would probably have, well, no, I think I probably would have spotted it, but, it's, you know. So the point being, occasionally I'd go in to see him again and he'd play all this rubbish and things, but sure enough, every time I went out the door, he'd say, I've got one more for you, but they were always rubbish from then on.
So there was no more He Ain't Heavy.
No.
Wouldn't it have been nice if there was? You could just go in, listen to the crap, and then go to the door and know you were going to get a hit.
Shook my head out of dreams, reality's calling. The early bird's been out all morning, but I've got no notion of moving from where I am. Well, my legs won't move, I feel disabled. I'm on a shelf, an article labeled, waiting for someone to fetch me from lost and found.